No,
All right,
don't
so
back down.
pass for about 5 minutes. If you guys want to say anything before that, I suggest you say it because I'm not going to want to be cut off for this. But
Should I grab popcorn?
you should. If you're ready,
Okay,
I'll go ahead and go off.
Caramel type or normal or
Whatever you want. All right. So lately, I have pissed some people off on Twitter, and I don't give a flying fuck about that. But what I've pissed them off about is really funny, and it has a tremendous amount of bearing on pretty much everything related to Gamergate right now. Here's the problem. Every time now an e-celeb or a prominent figure, shall we say, for lack of a better word, on one side or the other of Gamergate, be it Brianna Wu or Randy Harper or the Ralph Retort or Oliver Campbell or Mundane Matt or me or Underdog or anybody for that matter, says something on Twitter, some people start hand-wringing about it because they think that it's not the gospel. That's fine. Here's the problem. Increasingly, a large number of people in Gamergate seem to believe that whenever somebody like Ralph speaks, or whenever somebody like Brianna Wu on the anti-Gamergate side speaks, what they say somehow represents their entire side. Specifically, this problem is very exacerbated with Ralph, and here's a great example. Earlier today, I called Bro Team Pill out, as well as Margaret out, for saying, oh my god, Ralph Retort is saying stuff bashing trans people, and Ralph Retort represents Gamergate. And herein lies the problem. None of these people on either side represent jack shit. And it's time for everyone in Gamergate, it's time for everyone involved, and it's time for gamers straight up to wake the fuck up and have a reality check. So I'm going to give you that reality check, and it's going to piss you off. But here's the reality check. The number one problem that we have right now is that nobody can think for themselves. Nobody has critical thinking skills anymore. People just want to follow whatever the loudest voice in the room is, whether it's me, whether it's Sargon of Akkad, whether it's the Ralph Retort or whatever. And then when that person starts saying things that they don't like or starts doing things in a way they don't like, suddenly it's a big conniption fit because people are so addicted to following them, they believe that these people are the gospel, that what they say represents the entire issue or all of Gamergate or all of gamers or whatever the case may be. This is a fundamentally flawed line of thinking, and it arises from the fact that people can no longer think for themselves. Right now, the majority of Gamergate, you guys are no better than social justice warriors. I'm sorry to give you the cold water, but you are no better than SJWs right now because you are following pundits around like a mob, and then whenever they say something you don't like, suddenly it's a big hand-wringing conniption fit on Twitter or wherever else about it. Now, that's not what the case was 5 months ago or even 4 months ago or even 3 months ago. This is a recent problem. The systemic roots of it are the fact that people don't want to think for themselves or can't think for themselves, but it's a recent problem. And we can fix it. And we can bring the focus back to the things that matter. And here's how you do that. Remember this key thing. The Ralph Retort does not represent anybody. Oliver Campbell does not represent anybody. I do not represent anybody. Brianna Wu does not represent anybody. You, the gamers, represent yourselves. Take action. Speak out. Represent yourselves on the issues. But most importantly, think for yourselves and recognize that everybody who's in this as a pundit, with rare exception, number one, has an agenda, and number two, they don't care what you think. They don't care how many people think what they think. In case you haven't noticed, no matter how many thousands of people have blasted the Ralph Retort or Brianna Wu for saying and doing unethical things, they continue to do things the way they want to do them. You know why that is? Because they don't care. They are in it for their own reasons, and that's fine. That's not the problem. That is not why any of us got involved in this. That is not why all of you hundreds of thousands of gamers out there now who may listen to this or see all this stuff going on, that's not why you're mad. That's not why you got involved. All of the people who have left Gamergate now in frustration, That's not why you got involved either. You got involved because people were threatening your culture. A culture of corruption, a borderline criminal culture of corruption was being allowed to exist and proliferate, and it was threatening to destroy your art form, your culture, and your lifestyle. That is why people got involved. That is why people are still involved, and that is the focus. So how do we bring back the focus? It's very simple. Focus on the three big things here. There are three big things that you should focus on, if nothing else: corruption, criminality, and proliferation. And perhaps the fourth thing that you could say is coalescence, which is basically groupthink in a word. What do you need to do? Focus on exposing the corruption and expunging it. Affect real change. Support developers. Again, start reaching out to developers again. What happened to that? We're so busy bitching about the Ralph Retort, we can't reach out to developers anymore?
No.
Reach out to developers.
But we've
Support
been wasting
developers.
our time on this stupid drama.
Not done.
That's the truth.
Support people who want to change things, who want to have a culture free of corruption. Expunge and expose and attack the people who are promoting a culture of corruption. Follow the money. Focus on the major players who have funded this culture and allowed it to exist. UBM, IGDA, DIGRA. Focus like a laser on them and scrutinize them until they lose every dollar they have. You know, do that. Focus on exposing the criminality. Some of the things some of these people have done are and may in fact be criminal behaviors. Some of this is documented. Focus on this. Expose it. If you find real evidence of criminal behavior, report it to law enforcement. If you see people committing SEC violations, committing insider trading violations, committing racketeering violations, report it. And the third biggest thing is don't become like the other side with the group think. Do not follow voices around, pundits around. If you listen to what people say on streams, if you listen to what pundits say, what people like Oliver Campbell or whoever, or Ralph Retort, whatever, if you listen to what they say and you either react to it, as is the case of in anti-GamerGate pundits, or you listen to it and you like what they say, as is the case with quote-unquote pro-GG pundits, that's great, but recognize that that is not the gospel, that they are saying what they believe and they are speaking their mind, but they don't represent jack shit. You do. You are the consumer. You are the person that has all the power. So don't, the third thing is coalescence. Don't become group thinkers. Don't follow around the people with the megaphones and the loudest voices in the room, and don't sit there and hand wring when one of them says something you don't like and waste time and energy doing that. Instead, focus on real change. Expunge the corruption, expose the criminality, and defeat the coalescence. And you will be a much better community going forward, and we will bring about real change in the gaming industry and in the gaming community that will prevent something like this from ever happening again. Do these things. I am begging you, Gamergate. Do these things. And remember also, there is no such thing as pro-GG and anti-GG and all of that crap. There are people that don't like video games. There are people caught in the middle that don't give a shit or don't know what to do. And then there are people who are really scared, really upset, and really angry, can see the corruption, and want to get rid of it. Those are the only three groups there are. Pro and anti-GG is a construct. It's not real. It's made up, just like the megaphones, just like the narratives and all the other crap. It ain't real. Focus on what is real. If you want to affect change, affect change. Focus on the things that matter. Do not sit there and hand wring and follow people around like sheep or like some kind of group thinking mob, because then you are just as bad as the other side. And I can damn well say, before I finish this is the last thing I'll say, I can damn well say that there are a lot of people on Twitter right now that a lot of people follow around who really need to hear this and take it to heart. Because if you're sitting there spending 98% of your time hand-wringing about what Ralph Retort said or did today, or what Brianna Wu said or did today, guess what? You're not affecting change. You're not thinking for yourself. and you are being ineffectual. You will not bring about the change that you want to see. You are wasting your time. So please take what I just said to heart. If nothing else, think about this stuff. It is a great time for a wake-up call and to remember why we are all here. We are all here to bring about change. We are not here to bitch about what some celebrity said, okay? We're not here to bitch about what Megaphone said, and we're not here to turn into a group-thinking echo chamber mob just like the other side. And I'll yield back.